just actually a couple months ago, I flew from Texas out to Florida because that happened to a family that was building a luxury home, almost a $4 million home. Contractor did probably about $300,000 worth of work for it, and then he disappeared, but he took $3 million already. And the reason why they did that is because nobody was actually taking assessment of the project throughout the phases. And so they just kept on putting in money for the title company. The company kept on paying out.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Investor Fuel podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kessel, and today I'm joined by someone that I'm looking forward to chatting with, Nik Farooqui, who's been making serious moves as a project manager for commercial and retail stores, also offering in-house construction and development services. So excited to have you here on the show today.
Appreciate you having me on.
Of course. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're approaching creating and these new development projects, supporting retailer, working with contractor developers, and all the consulting services that you offer. So we have a lot to dive into. So let's begin. First off, for those not familiar with you and your world yet, I'd love to hear the short version of what your main focus is.
Yeah, our main focus is project management for commercial and retail teams specifically, or developers that work with commercial and retail. We build everything from gas stations to retail stores, everything from a vanilla box build out inside like a retail, like a chain or a mall, all the way to freestanding brick and mortar buildings, all the way to site utility development for gas stations and product like pipeline, that kind of. We also offer, we do land investing as well, and it's interesting because some of our clients that we do the project management for are actually the ones who are buying the land that we are developing for ourselves, and so it's kind of a good unison there.
Awesome. And are you operating throughout the whole U.S. or in certain markets?
Yeah, typically the Southeast. So I'm based out of Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, although majority of our projects are North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, a couple in Louisiana, a few in Texas, mostly like towards Houston, Texas. We've gone out to Colorado. We've done a couple projects in California. I don't recommend it. That's pretty tough. And then our home base was originally from the Midwest. I'm originally from Chicago. And so we have a lot of clients in the Chicagoland market that we continually deal with and get some projects up there several times a year.
Awesome. What have been some of the keys that have allowed you to keep this business running smoothly?
I would say that our number one key to keeping business running smoothly is the fact that we integrate into our client's business that well. As a project management contract team, it's imperative that we don't separate ourselves from the actual end user. We become a part of their team. We're a strategic partnership with that client. They want us to operate as if we were an in-house construction project management team for them.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And so it's one of the things that I do in our consulting side is whenever we get a new client, I will spend the first 3 to 6 months doing all of the project management myself. Then I'll allocate it to one of my employees. And the reason why I do that is because in order for me to be able to understand the people, the method, the product, that means I need to be hands-on with it. And then when I hand it off, I need to be able to provide support for my team. If they have questions or if they're running into something, I don't want them going back to the client. I want them coming to me, and hopefully we can help resolve that up front. And once you kind of get the idea, the culture of that client, then it's even easier to integrate because now you know the people that you got to call, you know what to say, what not to say, and you can get ahead of a problem. So if I'm looking at a set of drawings and I say, hey, listen, my client has made a revision on this plan. This is an outdated plan or an outdated design. I don't have to now go through their architectural design team. I can make that decision right up front and say, hey, listen, this is an outdated design. Here's the new design. If there's going to be a change order involved, let's talk about it. Or if we can get onto it pretty early. My clients love that fact because they know that we are truly taking pride and ownership of each particular project.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important to have that level of support for all of your clients. What are you most focused on solving or scaling next when it comes to your business?
I want to scale the land acquisitions and development aspect of it. I want to be able to purchase more and more larger acreage properties, develop those out, at least in entitlements, and then be able to turn around and put that back out to our end user clients or anybody else as well. Most of that's going to be still in commercial and retail, although I will go with residential and start doing several lots. I want to get into major subdivides more than I do the minor subdivides. So I don't want 5 parcels. I want 50 parcels. So we're trying to get after the larger pieces of land that we could buy and develop and make sure that the entitlements are ready for. The other aspect of scaling for the project management aspect is, again, creating strategic partnerships. I have a partnership with actually my brother's business where he does software development to help with taking care of some of the, I don't want to say mundane, but some of the more administrative tasks that happen in an office. That software based on AI can now replace 2 or 3 people's tasks, freeing them up to be able to focus on things that are a little bit more important. So developing those kinds of strategic partnerships that I can now bring to my end user, to my client, is a huge part of it. And then obviously making sure that we are staffed up properly to be able to take on the volume of projects or the volume of clients that we're seeing on an annual basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love for you to expand on the land development piece. Like, what does that process look like for you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different venues for purchasing land, for land investors, let's just say. A lot of people will focus on the infill lots. So you might have like a half-acre parcel that's in the middle of a subdivision that you could purchase. Many ways of going about doing it. You might want to try to purchase it, for 10 grand below market value, and then try to resell it and eat up that 10% for a profit margin. I don't do that. That's not our niche. When we look at property, land in general, vacant land, I always look at it through the eyes of a developer. Do I want to keep this and build something on it? Because then it will show me the characteristics of why somebody else who might want to develop it would want to buy it and what the value for that is. So what we do is we go through the process to acquire, sometimes it's rural land. I typically don't do anything less than 5 acres, typically not even less than 10 acres, but it does happen from time to time. And so when we purchase this, I really want to look at it through the eyes of like, not just myself as a developer, but somebody else who would want to develop it. That being said, once that decision is made, we purchase that property, then we'll do some further analysis and see if we can't do entitlements or maybe a conceptual subdivide or, whatever plans we have for that. And then we'll farm it out. And if it's brings enough income in to make it worth selling, then we'll sell it. Or if it's something that we just absolutely want to keep and do ourselves, then we'll absolutely keep it and do it ourselves.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Amazing. That's really inspiring and such a cool way to work with these different types of projects.
Well, it's unique, So what ends up happening, Michelle, is that when you have land investors, typically the idea is buy low, sell high, right? That's the name of the game for almost anything. But what they're missing out is why would you want to sell it high if you could sell it even higher? Or why would somebody want to pay you more than what you just paid for it? And that means you have to take a look at that parcel and not see it for what it is, but see it for what it could be, and then help it get to that direction that makes it marketable. And so it's not about flipping paper. You can't flip paper and land as easily as you could. And like if you're investing in just single family homes or like 4 and 5 unit multifamilies, that kind of stuff, that type of stuff you could flip paper pretty fast. But for land, one, the deal cycle is significantly longer. Two, the due diligence that you have on vacant land is completely different than what you would have on a property, on like an actual structure. Actual structure, you're going to go check out the MEP, the roof, the foundations, and these kinds of things. But on vacant land, you have to take a look at perk tests. You have to take a look at road access. You have to look at slopes and understand the engineering for it. Then you have to kind of zoom out and see what is the area around it. Can I do this for single family zoning, or can I do multifamily zoning, or can this become a commercial zone? Then you have to start taking a look at easements. You might have the DOT or the state that owns property right adjacent to it, which you can't get drive access through. Maybe they're doing that for conservation purposes because they're trying to offset a drainage runoff. All kinds of things come on in. And so the cost of acquiring land is significantly more sophisticated as well as more expensive. And so, you have to kind of like walk into it the right way, although it makes it very, very interesting. It's just not as simple as flipping, paper and contracts like you could with a lot of the single family or multifamily type of stuff.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's definitely a whole nother process than those other typical investments.
Yeah, and look, for me, like I come from that background. Like my father was a developer, general contractor. My grandfather was overseas, but he was called the magistrate of development, which would be like the mayor of all construction of a city. And so my I have two brothers. One brother was involved with the business as well. I got involved with this as a kid. Got involved with the real leadership part of the business when I was 19. I actually walked away from this. I started a completely other business unrelated to anything investing or construction or otherwise. 2013, my father passed away. I took the business back over and revamped it, and then really pushed out the project management aspect of it. And that's been doing extremely well for us, especially coming out of the COVID era where people were laid off and it just wasn't a good position for people to hold on to staff.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. As far as the project management piece of your business, I know that you mentioned it's for, commercial, retail, gas station, that whole line of buildings. Can you expand on specifically how you support them?
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I will do residential as well. I mean, we've done everything from custom homes, $1.5 million and up homes, to helping out with subdivides, meaning, multiple parcels. But our primary focus is in the commercial and retail. And so, the way we support them, we take any project or typically multiple projects all the way through the lifeline, meaning everything from plan review, architectural design, permitting, actually breaking ground on construction, all your pre-con stuff, all your construction part of it, all the way through closeout. So it's a turnkey formula that we own that project for the entire time, And so when we get into it, there's a lot of moving parts to any project. If you think about how many things are involved, how many different trades are involved, contracts are involved, change orders are involved. You have SPVs that are involved, design changes that are involved. You have all kinds of things that are continually changing per project. And if you have a team that gives you 12 or 15 projects at once, as they do for us, then you need to be on top of that, right? And map that correctly and have the professionalism to sort through all that stuff with some precision. And so our goal for my team and I is, again, just assimilate, integrate into that team so that we get to know all of the inner workings, and then literally be a surgeon going after it, right? You have to be extremely precise with every single thing that you do. But when you do that enough, it kind of becomes second nature anyways.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Absolutely. Yeah, that precision is important. And yeah, definitely the more that you work on it, the more, you understand how to make it flow for your business.
And by the way, we get clients that might have a project that kind of went south somewhere, right? And they need to reassess where they're at, and they might bring us in for that part of it too. So it might be a project that might be halfway done, or they'll give us just phases of it. Hey, Nick, can you help me out with the pre-con and development part of it, all the way to permitting? Or we only want your help in the actual construction part of it until we start getting towards finished product and substantial completion. Sometimes they'll give us that. That's kind of rare, but it does happen. I tend to see more of that when you have a individual owner, and I get this probably a handful of times a year, where you might be an investor or maybe even a homeowner who has spent a lot of money with the contractor. That contractor has taken that money and gone to the wind. Money's dried up. You have no idea where you're at, and you have a project that's 50% done and 90% of the funds are already gone. We need to reassess what's happening and what the best approach is. Just actually a couple months ago, I flew from Texas out to Florida because that happened to a family that was building a luxury home, almost a $4 million home. Contractor did probably about $300,000 worth of work for it, and then he disappeared, but he took $3 million already. And the reason why they did that is because nobody was actually taking assessment of the project throughout the phases. And so they just kept on putting in money for the title company. The title company kept on paying out. And then they realized that all the money's gone. Nobody's looked at this project, and we can't even find the contractor at this point. There's all kinds of lawsuits going on of that nature. People are doing that everywhere. So we'll get calls from people say, hey, Nick, can you go out there? Can you take a look? Can you get us an honest assessment? Can we hire you on as a consultant to help us finish this thing out? Can you bring in an EGC, qualify these guys? Can you bring in some new sub-trades, qualify them? Let's take a look at their contract and start to realign that project, at least to get to completion. Because if you don't do anything, you're just sitting on you just burn money away for no good reason.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know it's crazy how all these things can go sideways. And then, you have to come up with the cleanup plan and help people in the end.
Yep.
Awesome. I know that you mentioned you do consulting work. What does that aspect look like?
Well, I think to a certain degree, I think the project management aspect is consulting to a certain degree, right? Because we're taking a look at the project and giving our best feedback on it. Now, if the project's already kind of like trimmed and true and we just need to run it, it's already past the permitting phase, budget's allocated, we can get to work, put shovel in the ground, cool. But there is sometimes a little bit of consulting aspect that comes to that too, because you might be like, hey, this isn't best use, or hey, I wouldn't do that over there because XYZ code, or maybe local municipality frowns upon this or whatever, or hey, we see some slope changes, or hey, your soil engineer missed out doing soil borings over here. We know it's contaminated soil, that's going to cost a lot more. Maybe we should move the structure over a little bit. Any of those kinds of things sometimes get involved as well. We also will be, I will consult for directly to a few investors, mostly general contractors. And that is a little bit different because general contractors will bring me in and say, hey, listen, Nick, we're trying to build a pipeline. We're trying to refine the pipeline for our team. That might be an implementation for some kind of software. That might be training. I've gone into plenty of GC's offices where they hired on 2 or 3 college-aged project management because they need staff. But these guys are still, green behind the ears. So how do we get them up to speed, right? Teach them the bidding process, teach them the project management process, teach them the change order process, show them how to get from A to B and get a successfully completed project, right? So a little bit of mentorship in that. And we also have other businesses that will be like, hey, Nick, can you come on in and take a look and see where are we burning money? And what you find is those two things are kind of related. A lot of times you'll have, heavily staffed offices. They got 15 project managers, they got 10 estimators, they have a whole bunch of warranty people, they have accounts payable, accounts receivable. And so what happens is from phase to phase, as that project file goes from one person to another, it's going to get plugged up somewhere, which means somewhere in the end, somebody else has to try to backtrack it to get all those loose ends tied up. It's a logistical nightmare. And we saw this a lot, especially in the COVID era when we had people getting laid off. And so you might have a project that was, kind of started, and then you laid somebody off or fired somebody, and now you don't have the staff, and all the information that's in their head or in their notebook, you're not privy to that anymore. And so because you have a decentralization of information, you can't get that to the next phase. How does somebody who's brand new coming in to that project pick it up successfully? They're going to struggle every step of the way. And so we see those kinds of inefficiencies and those kinds of breakdowns in the pipeline all the time. Let's talk a little bit about investors. Investors will hire on, GCs to go do their work. The GC may or may not be qualified. They might have other types of clauses in their contract that are not very favorable to the investor themselves. There might be money issues. If it's a large enough project, we go through title companies. Somebody has to assess that. And so, there's different things that we need to do as consultants to get involved with that part of it, to be able to serve that investor properly, to make sure that his money or hers money is well protected throughout the process.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, that's super important.
Yeah, so we do a lot of, for investors specifically, we do a lot of site visits, documentation. So we'll go there, sometimes we'll run drones, sometimes we'll run 360-degree photographs and start building stuff up because we want to document all the phases for where it's at. That's really important because then we can compare that to where the construction schedule is and where the cost is, right? And so if you have contractors that are taking draws up against the contractual amount, but their work is not up to that par or not up to that point, we need to have a different conversation. Hey, I can't approve all of this right now because we're not there yet. This payout's supposed to happen when the drywall's going up. You guys aren't even framed yet. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of money in between. And so, so we want to make sure that that site documentation is correct, that we advise our investors correctly to make sure that, their money's protected. I consider us kind of an insurance policy.
Absolutely. That's super important too. Yeah, have that protection. Awesome.
That's right.
So before we wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect, learn more from you, where can people find you?
Yeah, well, you can find me, the easiest place, I keep changing social media profiles, honestly. I just keep adding more and more because, different businesses kind of bring different people. But the easiest place to get a hold of me, honestly, these days, is if you just go up on Instagram. Go out on Instagram, it's Nik_Farooqui, spelled out. There's no numbers or special characters or that kind of stuff. You can connect with me there. Or you can go straight over to www.northstarlandgroup.com. That's my website. There's a contact page on there. Feel free to reach out. Be happy to converse with you guys and see where we can help you out.
Perfect. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate you.
Awesome. And for the listeners tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you've subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators just like Nick who are building real businesses. See you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.